Hello everyone! This time I want to give you a couple of tips to pretty much survive Turn 1 wrecks. Some tracks are terribly known for having very tight first corners, and if you are the standing start with a lot of cars in it, there's a good chance that you will play bumper cars at the end of the straight. There's a disclaimer though, unfortunately there's no silver bullet. You might still follow all the advices that I'm giving here, and still getting caught in the middle of the carnage. After all, it's impossible to predict everything. What I'll do to explain that is to analyze this start. This is a start of a league racing that I'm doing that is called GTSRL Division 2 Europe. Feel free to check that out, by the way. I'll leave a link to the description below. I want to analyze this because it's a textbook example of a start going wrong. I will analyze the behavior of the drivers involved and understand why some of them survived and others didn't. I want to focus first on the cause of the wreck, which is due to this guy. What he did is to misjudge his braking point and punt the guy in front, which then punted the guy in front of him, and so on, in some sort of domino effect with cars with incentiles. Let's go to the moment that is braking. He started braking from here, and from there it's impossible to make the corner. Of course, with lots of cars in front of him, the only consequence is destruction. The way he brakes though gives me an opportunity to talk about another thing. You can see here that he's swerving while he's braking, which in this case was kind of good because he tried to avoid the car in front of him, but on the other hand his brake power was substantially decreased. This means that he hit the other car with more speed in the middle of the corner. Okay, in this case it was kind of justified, as he wanted to avoid the key to hit the car in front, and it would have hit some cars anyway, even if he didn't swerve. But as a general rule, especially during turn 1, if you brake in a straight line. The first thing that I could tell you is that the most dangerous place during a very busy start is the inside of the corner in the middle of the pack. That's the busiest place, and people are usually very slow there because they're slowing each other down and they're forced to take a tight line into the corner because there are other cars usually on the outside. In fact, if you're looking at the cars that are taking the very inside line where the accident happens, they are not directly involved. Of course, there's AWB and Dolby Town that are directly involved. Serino wasn't directly involved, but it is not on the inside. Bam Bam Mom was on the very inside. I wouldn't tell calm downs because even though it was pretty much on the inside, it also left some space and it will take the corner a little bit. With a little bit more room on the inside, so I won't count him. So if I look at those 4 cars, so it'll be Dolbin, Serino, and Bam Bam. Those are the cars that are losing the most. Yeah. So the last positions are in fact those cars, apart from the 2 involved. Let's see now the start of the Serino, which allows me to talk about space. Space is the most important thing to have during a busy start. If you have space between you and the car directly in front of you, you have more possibility to react to his braking without causing problems. This one wasn't a bad start by any means, but he made a couple of bad decisions that affected him later on. First of all, he goes straight to the inside, which I said is a very dangerous place. I need to add that he basically tucks behind Bam Bam, leaving less space in front of him. Luckily he understands that he needs space in front, and he goes a little bit more towards the center. This and the fact that Bam Bam had more speed allowed him to have a reasonable amount of room in front of him. He outbrakes Bam Bam, but he makes the mistake to go directly towards the apex. Remember that he just passed the car, and the same car is going to go for the same apex he's going towards. The result is that he collides with Bam Bam, which on the other hand leaves the brakes and then is going too fast, perhaps in an attempt to overtake him back. But in doing so, blocks Genserino, and the two cars are basically stuck. Genserino could have avoided to be stuck if he was a little bit on the outside and didn't went straight to the apex. But be aware, I'm not giving Genserino any blame for the accident. That is not the point. The point is predict when things can go wrong and make some damage limitations. Now we have a look on my start, which was unfortunate, but it could have been way worse. That is all due to the fact that it was on the outside, and I avoided a large part of the mess. In this case, even if I was part of the initial domino effect, I was still able to be ahead of other people that were on the inside. As you can see, I'm staying on the outside. I got a good amount of space in front of me. What you will see now is a little trick that I'm using on busy starts to avoid getting punted from behind. All I'm doing is to tap the brakes a bit before my actual braking point. This needs to be just a tap. The aim is not to brake yet, but is to get the brake lights on. The guy behind will react to those brake lights and hopefully will brake a little bit earlier. Yep, tap and then brake. In fact, what you're gonna see here is Raybot reacting to my earlier brake lights. Unfortunately, what it comes up was not predictable for me. I was hit by doping, that was hit by the initial punter, AWB. But because I have more room compared to the guys in the middle of the corner, I've still managed to escape and been in the middle of the race. Another example to show how going a little bit on the outside is better on the busy start is the start of Cold Downies. He couldn't stay completely on the outside, but he stays as much as possible on the left of the apex. He still gets pounded, but at least he had that split second to avoid the real mess. Paradoxically, the guys that won the most in this mess, they were the guys in the last two positions, Joker and Agent Cinder. All they did is to take the corner really slow. They could afford to be slow. No one was behind them to pound them in case they were too slow. Then grab a couple of popcorns, enjoy the show, sneak under all this mess, and with lots of position in the back. So, what we could say to wrap this up. 1. Avoiding pushing yourself to the inside, especially if you are in the middle of the pack. It is very busy and is most likely to be involved in a mess. 2. Don't move while you're braking and don't make last second maneuvers. 3. Go where there's space in front of you. You have more time to react to your opponent's braking. 4. Tap the brake a bit before your braking point to avoid getting putted. And 5. Keep your fingers crossed because you can never tell. Thanks for watching.